Welcome to the Explainer. It's funny how a principle from physics could end up describing human relationships, right? Well, today we're diving into a really cool comparison that connects language, physics, and psychology to explore two powerful ideas about how groups really connect. So let's get right into the big question. We've got this Dutch metaphor that's straight out of a physics textbook, and then we have this formal term from social psychology. They both seem to be about connected groups, but are they really talking about the same thing? Let's dig in and find out. Okay, first up, let's tackle this Dutch phrase. And to really get it, we've actually got to start not with people, but with a super simple, kind of elegant principle from physics that involves liquids. So, what this really is, at its core, is a law from hydrostatics. Just picture a U-shaped tube, right? If you pour water into one side, it's not just going to stay there. Nope, it flows across until the level is exactly the same on both sides. The vessels are literally communicating with each other to find that perfect balance, that equilibrium. And here's the absolute key thing to remember. This whole process is completely passive. It's a fundamental law of physics, just like gravity. There's no thinking involved, no active coordination. It's just a natural, automatic balancing act caused by pressure. Okay, but this is where it gets interesting, right? This is where a simple physics law gets borrowed to become a metaphor for how we live. We use this idea to talk about any two systems. Think about interconnected economies or even social circles, where a change in one seems to automatically trigger a balancing change in the other. The main idea here is that feeling of mutual, almost effortless influence.
All right, so let's shift gears. We're leaving the world of physics behind and jumping straight into psychology. How does this passive metaphor stack up against a very active concept called transactive memory?
Yeah, this is a whole different ballgame. This isn't about passive balancing at all. This is about an active, shared group memory that is often way more powerful and efficient than what any one person could remember on their own. It's basically how groups think, together.
And the origin story for this idea? It couldn't be more different. This didn't come from watching liquids in a tube. It came from watching people, how we actively talk, cooperate, and build this kind of collective brain within a group.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, it's basically a three-step process. First, the group learns something together. Then they kind of decide, sometimes without even saying it out loud, who's going to be in charge of remembering what part. You create specialists. And then, when that piece of information is needed, boom, the group knows exactly who to turn to. It's a super efficient way to manage knowledge.
And once you know what to look for, you start seeing this everywhere. Just think about a long-term couple. The type, one person remembers all the birthdays and anniversaries, and the other one knows all the bank passwords and when the bills are due. That right there, that's a classic, everyday transactive memory system in action.
Okay, so we've got our two contenders. On one side, a physical metaphor for balance. On the other, a psychological system for shared memory. Let's put them side by side and get our final answer.
And this, right here, is the fundamental difference. The whole idea of communicating vessels is about a passive, automatic process of equalization. But transactive memory, that's all about active cooperation, whether it's conscious or not. One is automatic, the other is all about cognition. And when you lay it all out like this, the differences are just crystal clear. Their origins are from totally different worlds, physics versus psychology. Their key mechanisms couldn't be more unlike. One is about physical balancing, the other is about social, specialized knowledge sharing. And their core ideas really diverge. One is about simple interdependence, while the other describes this complex, distributed group brain. They're just not playing the same game.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why does this difference even matter? Is it just playing with words?
Well, here's the final verdict. No, they are absolutely not the same thing. Communicating vessels is a metaphor for balance. Transactive memory is a formal system for cognitive cooperation. And here's why that's so important. The metaphor might describe a result you see from a transactive memory system, like, oh, our knowledge feels balanced, but it completely misses the process. It has nothing to say about the specialization, the distribution of tasks, and the active retrieval that actually makes the whole thing work. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Just take a look around your own life, your family, your friends, your team at work. Who's the go-to person for restaurant recommendations? Who's the one that always remembers how to fix the Wi-Fi? Chances are you're already part of several of these hidden group minds. So the real question is, what knowledge are you holding for your group?